I think a lot of people think about you as an investor. Would you define yourself as an investor or as an entrepreneur?
I think I'm a better entrepreneur than I'm an investor. I do actually believe the following. I believe as long as I stay healthy and don't pass away too young, that somewhere between the ages of 50 and 70, I will make a Peter Thiel-like investment in Facebook. I think it's all building. I'm getting stronger. I have access at a level. The next thing's gonna come along. It's gonna be pattern recognition again, and I'm gonna fucking strike. I'm gonna strike earlier and harder.
With way more capital and knowledge.
With way more capital and knowledge. And I genuinely do believe that there's a significant chance that I'm gonna write a $4 million check into something that is gonna be a Peloton, an Uber, a Facebook. I would be stunned. Like if I'm 98 and it's kind of wrapping up, it's the way it crumbled, there is absolutely, especially if I know if it's not gonna be a sudden death, I have a funny feeling if they're like, you got 4 months, I'm definitely convinced that a lot of time in my own mind would be, how the fuck did that not happen? like I'm so sure it's gonna happen over the next 50 years, so I would say that I'm both.
Yeah.
But I very much more associate with being an entrepreneur than I do an investor. And I proved that because in 2009, on the back of some of these good decisions, I had a real opportunity to start a very large fund. And when you're offered $100 million in capital and you're making $2 million a year, and I was making $100,000 a year at this point.
Yeah, on a 2 and 20, that's
you know,
yeah.
To get $2 million a year to take meetings and you're hot. You just made these good decisions and get 20% of the economics. Yeah. For me to spit at that and start a client service business, because I was self-aware enough at that 34 years old to say, I'm not a fund guy, I'm an operator, and what I'm best at this is me talking to myself, so take it for what it is. And if I'm the best in the world like I think I am, in contemporary marketing of the moment at all times, why don't I build a battleship? Actually, because I'm a Star Wars fan, why don't I build a Death Star? And I called it a Death Star because I thought I could build it, and just like the Death Star in the first Star Wars we saw, episode 4, there's one little place, and by the way, I'm the exhaust pipe. If I die, it all crumbles.
Now in the sequels, they built it with that stupid same thing again. I'm assuming that you've at least put some sort of cover over it.
Nope, absolutely not. Head. If I go tomorrow, it's over.
You just did.
It's over.
Is that intentional?
No, it's just a truth. There's no other way.
There's no other way to do it.
There's no other way. Boy, am I basic, and boy, have I been throwing the same pitch. It just feels different because I'm a good communicator. Things change, but I am basic. It's crazy. I associate to Warren, I don't know much about Warren Buffett, but my intuition of what I've picked up along the way is he too is very basic, very patient, very consistent.
And very fundamental driven.
Very fundamental, and that's what I think I am. Nonetheless, it's exciting that you bring up Casey. And this, by the way, everyone who's listening, I was an operator who built a wine business on good marketing arbitrage and communications and operations and HR. My employees were happier. I understood what that wine from New Zealand, Australia, and Spain were about to emerge. I understood how to pay better people to be managers so I could spend all my time selling, which allowed me to scale. Then I spent all my time learning e-commerce, which allowed me to scale. So it was a lot of fundamentals. I understood that I was talented and that I was patient and I could see myself in others. When I met Mark Zuckerberg, I thought his emotional intelligence and understanding of humans was uncomfortably high, almost like a Jedi meeting another Jedi. The fact that a year or two later, a movie came out that portrayed an introvert that was heartbroken made me, I never, ever laughed harder at Hollywood than when that was the perception that they wanted to push through. Now, Mark is not a charismatic, over-the-top human when he communicates. That doesn't mean he doesn't understand human behavior and communication.
Right.
And I've never sat at a dinner table and felt that somebody was of my ilk, naturally, of that skill set, and he was. His advantage was the way he decided to create wealth creation and monetize that ability. He also had the layer of building tech, which had much bigger variables than what I'm doing. I also have more of an altruistic legacy need than I think he does. And so this is how our paths are going. Plus it's a long game. I feel like I'm gonna be much more financially successful in my 70s and 80s. He was destined to do it in his 20s. Right. Just different paths. But that thing was the same. That thing has another version of it, which is I am going to pivot and will my thing into success.
Yeah.
And when I invested in Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, I invested without even really knowing what venture capital was or many other things. For example, for everybody who's a little bit more nerdy about investing, if I knew what an SPV was back then, a special purpose vehicle, which meant I could have gone around to all the rich business people I knew in the liquor business and said, hey, Jeffrey Alschuler, big shout out Jeffrey, great businessman, had a big distributor company. Hey, Jeffrey, give me $200,000 and I'm gonna help you. I could have invested in Facebook to any number I wanted. Mm-hmm. What I invested in was hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is all I had.
Right.
Had I knew of any level of education that I could have syndicated money and took 20% of the back end, I might be the owner of the Jets right now.
Right.
You know, so what happened was when I started investing, and I'll go even further back because I'm gonna answer your question deeper.
I like it.
How do I think about business? I think about HR, I think about product fit for the market, I think about operations. I'm uncomfortably talented at consumer behavior, and so that's what has populated to the top. And it's something that I also think, and I don't know if you were watching the talk I just gave, I'm on a mission to give away the best advice of the moment, every moment, with the hopes that I can have a mix of what happened up there, which is people thanking me for helping them build their business, or being historically correct so I can trade on that currency, or inspire someone to do something.
Which goes to what we talked about a minute ago too, which is that you elected not to, a lot of people are like, why don't you do a course, why don't you do a course? And you're like, I don't, that's not my thing.
It's not, and by the way, I think I put a lot of pressure on courses because I think they've gone egregious to the pricing and things of that nature, but there are many, and just for the record, it's a good audience to share it with, a good place, there are many good courses.
You probably think, for example, digital marketer courses are the best. Better than any other.
But you know what's really funny about this, and I think you guys know I have a lot of admiration for your operations, and congrats on some of the stuff that's going on with you guys, and I had a blast with you guys in San Diego, the wine dinner where I got to know a lot of you guys years ago. Why I said yes to this, where I'm being very selective, you know, because Ryan will text me. I feel a kinship even, you know, but I'm so busy. This is really fun. When I tell you I have no clue, I have no concept of your pricing structure, what's in it, and that's the way I am about a lot of things. I'm so focused on the end consumer, which is why that is populated as a core strength. But to go all the way back, I was so right about email, I was so right about Google AdWords, but I didn't benefit other than how it impacted my business, right? I remember the day Google went public, and my friend Eric Kastner, who was my developer, who sat closer than you and I are sitting in our tandem to building Wine Library. I remember him saying, like, what do you think? And I'm like, you should tell everybody to invest in this. But I didn't. I didn't, because I didn't buy stocks. I didn't even know how to do it. I knew E-Trade was out there, but like I was like, I don't want to spend 10 minutes setting up the account. Like literally.
Yeah.
I really should have. You know, like, you know, and so all these things happened. And so then when Google bought YouTube. And again, when I think back to how uncomfortably right I was about YouTube, I was really right. I was producing long form content at scale on a daily basis in 2006.
Yeah.
February of 2006, almost 05. I was super right. I told Eric Kastner that we should start a record label to rep.
It was like you and porn.
Yeah, it was.
Long form.
You know what it really was? It was really on YouTube. I mean, it was really Zay Frank.
Yeah.
Rocket Boom.
Yep.
Then a guy by the name of Renetto had a moment there. Like think about the fact that I can name the people that quickly.
Yeah.
It sells for 1.7 billion, which was $1 trillion at the time. I read an article, it talks about Ron Conway, the angel investor. I Google angel investor, I had no idea what that meant. And I sat there in my office in the liquor store where I still have some videos from, and I said, I'm gonna angel invest. And how I think about business is operational and entrepreneur driven.
You're talking about 50 years and making this big, like Peter Thiel level thing. I mean, obviously that's out a long way, so we can't even really begin to imagine what that next big thing could be.
Something that layers on top of blockchain, something that layers on top of voice, something that layers on top of VR, something that layers on top of AR, something that layers on top of an invention that's a framework that I don't even know yet.
Yeah.
That's what I'm good at. Show me the framework, I will be the first layer above that.
So I want to get, because this gets to your thesis and your process, but voice. You're really big on voice.
I am.
I don't
see it.
So Well, it's not that. Anytime I hear myself saying I don't get it, that's like an alarm that goes off in my head saying you're being an idiot.
You may not value time the way I do.
Well, so I guess my thing is and again I don't want to argue.
No,
the
argue. What are you talking about? This is
the
this is what's going to bring value to the listener right now.
Getting process though of it, because I look at human behavior also, and it's hard for me to imagine people vocalizing half of what they would search for, and like you look at a lot of what are the kids doing. I always look at what are a lot of the rednecks doing.
Yeah, and I love middle America as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
This is about time.
Yeah. So
once the technology catches up, for me to be sitting with you right now, and I have a thought right now that I want to tell my admins. Alex, make sure I get to the meeting on Thursday, and that's done. This thing's gonna get fucking melted.
So it's not so much about the search capabilities or anything like that. It's about just.
It's about everything.
Okay, and so
it's about everything. It becomes the new highway.
And so so you're seeing the behavior that tells you that like this feels a bit weird today for a lot of people, but I don't believe it's going to be weird.
Do you remember what people said about smartphones?
Absolutely.
Do you remember what people said about computers?
Cars or anything, really.
Do you remember the stigma around online dating?
Yeah.
Okay, those are all the answers to your question.
Yeah. So, but you're seeing it already happening, though. I guess, and again, I'm
no. I'm seeing. Yes, I am seeing it.
Or
Happening.
You believe
No,
that it
I'm seeing it. No, I am seeing that it's happening. The amount of 3-year-olds in the world right now that get the internet to do exactly what they want, who have no ability to spell or write, is enormous. My son looks at Pete Alonso home run highlights every day, and nobody helps him get there.
Yeah.
Because he says YouTube. My kids curate their playlists with Alexa. It's absolutely happened.
Yeah.
It's just early. It's really 1993 internet.
Yeah.
That's all.
So you're cool being super early and waiting, because I think a lot of people do is they'll believe something is coming, and if it's not there for a couple of years, then they just declare I was too early and they bow out. So how do you make sure that you see it, but you also hold back enough to wait? Like what's the process?
By not building a business that requires it to be real yet.
Keep going with that.
A lot of people are building a voice dev shop right now, or like that gentleman from India today has an app.
Yep.
He's right. He's dead.
Yeah.
Right? So very easily.
So you notice it. You're going to hang out and watch it, but you're waiting for it to hit that.
My conversation currently about TikTok, and years ago when I got loud about Snapchat, was the same game. I'd been watching for a while. I realized it curved to being older, which meant there was more users. Not super common. Whether it's, by the way, LinkedIn didn't get older. LinkedIn didn't get younger. LinkedIn changed as a platform that led to a lot of awareness from a content standpoint. Yeah.